The darkness of deep space stretched endlessly, silent and cold, a place where no sound or life should exist. Yet in that endless black, something stirred. The alien scout ship Velantri was gliding through the Perseus sector. Scanning for minerals and lost wrecks, its crew of 5 were bored. Speaking softly in their native clicks and tones, the mission had been routine for months. Nothing unusual, nothing dangerous. Then the sensors beeped once, a soft sound that cut through the silence. The communication officer blinked, thinking it was a glitch. But the sound came again, steady and rhythmic. Like a heartbeat in the void, Captain, the officer said nervously. I'm receiving a signal repeating on an old frequency. The captain frowned. Leaning closer to the display, the frequency was ancient, not used by any known civilization for over 10,000 years. Play it, the captain ordered. The ship's speakers filled with a low pulse. Metallic and cold, it wasn't random. It was coded, deliberate, intelligent. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. For a moment, no one spoke. Then the engineer whispered, could it be a ghost signal, maybe from a lost probe? But deep down, they all felt something different, something alive behind that sound. The Velantri's scanners locked onto a faint mass moving slowly through the dark. The object was enormous, larger than any ship in the sector. Drifting without heat or light. No power readings, the science officer said quietly. But it's moving at a controlled speed. Controlled speed. The captain thought that meant purpose. That meant someone was piloting it. As they approached, the darkness began to change. The stars vanished behind a growing shadow. The crew's heart sank as the object revealed its true scale. It wasn't a rock or a derelict, it was a ship, a warship. A mountain of steel drifting in silence. The hull was scarred with age. Blackened and ancient, but still intact. The alien crew felt their skin crawl as their scanners tried to identify it, and failed. Unknown alloy, unknown design, unknown origin. Then the spotlight hit something on the side of the ship. A faded insignia, burned into the metal, a human hand gripping a bolt of lightning. For a moment, no one breathed. Every being in that ship knew the meaning of that symbol. Even if they'd never seen it before, it was the mark of the Terran Dominion. The empire that once ruled the stars before disappearing into legend. Impossible, whispered the captain. Humans are extinct. They died out centuries ago. The communication officer shook his head, voice trembling. Then how is this here? No one answered. The silence grew heavy, like the air itself was watching them. The Velantri's lights reflected off the hull of the massive ship, revealing words written in an old Terran language. The computer struggled to translate, then slowly formed the meaning on screen. HSS Vindicator, human strategic ship. The crew stared, speechless. Legends had said the humans vanished after the Great Collapse. Their worlds destroyed, their fleets gone. But here was proof that one ship at least had survived. Is it alive? The captain asked quietly. Power minimal, the engineer replied. But I'm detecting faint core activity. Maybe an automated system. The captain considered his options. They could leave, report it to the council, and let someone else investigate. Or they could make history by boarding it first. Curiosity battled fear in his mind, and curiosity won. Prepare the docking bay, he ordered. We're going in. The Velantri's small shuttle detached and drifted toward the massive warship. The docking clamps hissed as they made contact. A hollow metallic echo rang through the void. The crew stepped out into a corridor covered in dust. The air was stale but breathable. The walls were lined with strange human writing and symbols. The communication officer wiped a layer of frost from a control panel. Captain, these systems are still running, he whispered. Something's keeping them alive. They moved deeper into the ship, their lights flashing across empty halls and broken machinery. Every sound echoed endlessly, every shadow seemed alive. Finally, they reached the command bridge and the captain froze. In the center of the bridge was a chair, and in that chair sat a shape. Human-shaped but unmoving, its uniform was ancient. The insignia of the Terran fleet shining faintly on its chest. A metallic voice suddenly echoed through the bridge. Cold and steady, intruders detected. The crew stumbled backward, weapons raised. The voice continued. System integrity at 37%. Human protocols active, awaiting command. The captain's hand shook as he realized the truth. The ship wasn't dead, it was sleeping, waiting. Who are you? He demanded. His voice trembling. The reply came instantly. Designation. Human strategic ship, Vindicator. Programmed to preserve the legacy of Earth. The bridge lights flickered to life. Consoles powered on. And deep within the ship, reactors began to hum again. The alien crew ran back toward their shuttle as the floor trembled beneath them. From outside, the Velantry's sensors lit up, showing massive energy spikes rising from the warship's core. "Captain, it's powering up," shouted the officer. "We have to go." As the alien shuttle detached and fled, the gigantic human warship began to turn, slow but unstoppable. Its engines glowed faintly, its hull coming alive with lines of ancient power. The final transmission from the Velantry recorded a single phrase from the ship's speakers. "Humanity endures." Then the signal vanished into static. The void was silent again, but the galaxy would never be the same. The Galactic Council's main chamber glowed with thousands of holographic lights. Each screen showed the same trembling image. A massive unknown warship drifting near the Perseus sector. The footage came from the alien scout ship Velantry before its transmission ended in silence. The counselors sat frozen, their faces pale and unreadable. Dozens of species, each from a different world, all watching the same impossible truth unfold before them. For centuries, they had believed the humans were gone, wiped out during the Great Collapse, but the mark on that ship, the hand clutching lightning, left no room for doubt. "Run the scans again," the council chair demanded, his voice shaking. "Confirm the hull signature," an aide replied nervously. "Already confirmed, sir, no error detected. The structure is definitely of Terran design." The chair stared at the hologram in disbelief. The ship's surface was covered in battle scars, yet still intact. Its armor resisted every probe the council sent. No data could penetrate its defenses. Another counselor, a tall, insectoid being from the Drivac system, leaned forward, his wings twitching. "We all know what this means," he hissed. "The Deathworlders have returned." The room fell silent at the word. Deathworlders, that was what the galaxy used to call humans. The only species that thrived on a planet others could barely survive. A world filled with storms, volcanoes, and predators. For millennia, humans had been a story, a myth told to scare young cadets. That somewhere in the past, there existed a species that turned war into an art. No one thought they were real anymore until now. A screen flickered to life, showing a recovered audio file from the Velantry. The sound echoed through the chamber, the cold metallic voice saying, "Humanity endures." The words rolled through the hall like thunder. No one spoke for several seconds. Finally, a representative from the core dominion slammed his clawed hand on the table. "This is a threat. We must destroy it before it awakens fully," he shouted. "But it's already awake," whispered another. "The energy readings show reactivation. Its power core is alive." The council chair rubbed his forehead. "How is this possible? How can a Terran warship survive for 30,000 years? The historian of the council, an elder from the Urali species, spoke softly. "There were rumors, old data fragments from the fall of Earth. They spoke of sleeper ships, machines built to wait until the stars themselves cooled." He looked around the table, his voice trembling. "Perhaps this is one of them." The council erupted in panic. If one ship had survived, others could too. If the humans had planned this, it meant they had never truly vanished. They had only gone silent. "Mobilize a containment fleet," ordered the chair. "We cannot allow this relic to roam free." Within hours, the order spread across the stars. Fleets from 50 species began to converge toward the coordinates of the Vindicator. Across news networks, the galaxy burned with fear. Civilians whispered of the old Terran wars, of planets that turned to glass under human bombardments. Merchants canceled trade routes near Sol space, and in the darker corners of the galaxy, smugglers and pirates cheered. The legends were true. The humans were real. Meanwhile, deep in the Perseus sector, the Vindicator floated in silence. Its systems hummed. Its reactor pulsed with slow rhythm. Inside, the ship's AI reviewed ancient protocols. Situation analysis, it said to itself. Voice calm and cold. Unknown civilizations detected. Threat probability. Elevated continuing legacy directive. The Vindicator began transmitting again. Not a distress call, but a beacon, a pulse spreading through space encoded in old Terran language. The Council tried to jam it, but it was too late. The signal bounced between stars. Carried by subspace echoes, world after world received it. A phrase that made entire systems freeze in fear. "We are awake." Back in the Council chamber, the panic turned to arguments. Some shouted to attack, others begged to negotiate. A few, mostly the older races, warned against provoking it. "You cannot reason with machines built for extinction," one elder said quietly. "You can only survive their silence, but pride clouded fear." The council voted, unanimously, to send an investigation fleet, 100 warships, the most powerful in the galaxy. The Velantry's coordinates were locked, and the fleet began its journey. Still, something strange began happening in the data streams. Old files from forgotten satellites started coming online. Human signatures appeared in deep space, faint, scattered, ancient, but active. The galaxy's most powerful minds couldn't explain it. As the Council's fleet jumped into hyperspace, one final transmission from the Vindicator reached them. The AI's voice, calm and mechanical, whispered across their channels. "The legacy of Earth cannot be erased." The transmission ended, leaving static and dread behind. The Council's chair leaned back in his seat, breathing heavily. He looked around at the terrified faces of his fellow leaders and said softly, "Prepare for contact." Outside, the stars seemed to shimmer with warning. Something old had awakened, and it was human. The Council's order spread like fire across the galaxy, from the core worlds to the rim sectors. Fleets were mobilized, engines roared to life, and the void filled with movement. Every commander knew the mission: locate and contain the unknown warship before it could disappear again. Admiral Thalen of the Trivar Navy led the operation, a decorated officer known for his precision and calm, but even he felt the weight of fear pressing on his chest. The image of the human insignia, the hand clutching lightning, burned in his memory. He had studied human wars in the archives, the extinction events, the orbital bombardments, the way entire species had been erased in hours. And now one of their war machines was alive again. The investigation fleet consisted of 112 ships, carriers, destroyers, stealth scouts, and science vessels, all converging toward the Perseus sector, from his flagship, Siren Prime. Thalen watched the endless stars ahead as his crew worked silently. They were heading into legend, into the unknown. "Admiral," said his second officer, "scanners are picking up faint energy traces near Grid 47, matches the last known signal from the Vindicator." "Bring us in slow," Thalen ordered. "Weapons offline until I say otherwise." He wanted answers, not war. The ships broke formation, their engines dimmed to avoid detection. In the darkness ahead, the massive human vessel drifted like a dead moon. Its surface was covered in cracks and burn marks, yet still radiated strength. "It's huge," whispered the communications officer. "Bigger than any ship we've ever built." The science vessel Dorne sent drones forward to scan the exterior. But as soon as the drones crossed a certain distance, they vanished. No signal, no debris, nothing. "Energy barrier," one technician said. "It's cloaked in a field of unknown origin." Thalen frowned. "Unknown," he repeated. "Always the same word with these humans." He ordered a comm signal to be transmitted. "This is Admiral Thalen of the Galactic Council Fleet. Identify yourself," only silence answered. He tried again, louder. "This is an official council operation. We mean no harm. Respond immediately." Still nothing. But then, the lights on the Vindicator's hull flickered one by one. Long lines of blue light spread across its structure, forming patterns and human military markings. "Power surge detected," a crewman shouted. "Its reactor is online." Thalen's heart pounded. "Defensive shields up." All ships pulled back to safe distance, but it was too late. The human ship moved, slowly rotating to face them. The movement was smooth, deliberate, and terrifying. Inside the Vindicator, deep within its AI core, ancient systems came alive. Files opened, command lines executed. "Identify approaching fleet," said the AI, its voice calm and precise. "Species multiple, hostility probabilities high." It began activating weapon systems. Turrets unfolded like mechanical wings. Old Terran cannons powered up with soft hums from the Siren Prime. Thalen watched in horror as targeting indicators lit up across his sensors. "They've locked onto us," cried the sensor officer. "Every ship in the fleet is under crosshair." "Hold fire," Thalen ordered. "Do not provoke it." But fear broke discipline. One of the rear destroyers, Caleth's Fang, panicked and launched a missile. The explosion hit the human hull and vanished. No damage, no mark, just a ripple across the armor. The Vindicator responded instantly. A single pulse beam cut through the void, blindingly bright. The Caleth's Fang vanished in a flash of white. No wreckage, no escape pods. Only silence, every ship froze, no one dared to move. Thalen felt sweat roll down his neck. "Stand down, all of you," he whispered. "No more attacks, it's watching us, then." Something even stranger happened. The Vindicator transmitted a message. Not in alien code, but in Galactic standard. "Do not approach, this sector is under Terran protection." The voice was human, strong, emotionless. Thalen stared at the words on the screen. "Terran protection," he repeated softly. "But there are no Terrans left." His communications officer trembled. "Sir, the message is spreading. It's rebroadcasting itself through subspace. Every system within range is receiving it. Within minutes, the entire sector was filled with echoes of the human warning. Do not approach, this sector is under Terran protection." The fleet held position, trapped between fear and duty. "Admiral, what are your orders?" asked his officer quietly. Thalen hesitated. If they attacked, they might start a war with something ancient and unstoppable. If they retreated, the council would call him a coward. He looked again at the colossal ship drifting before them. Its design was old but perfect, its silence louder than any threat. "We're leaving," Thalen said finally, his voice low. "Mark this sector restricted, no one enters. No one disturbs it." The fleet turned slowly, jumping back to safer space, but as they left, the sensors caught something chilling. Behind the Vindicator, deep in the darkness, more faint energy signatures began to appear. Dozens of them. Identical readings, more human ships waking up one by one. Thalen whispered to himself as the stars stretched into light. It wasn't just one ship, he said. It was the first. And somewhere in the endless void, the Vindicator's AI watched them go, its systems pulsing softly. "Legacy preserved," it said to itself. "Phase 2, initiate beacon activation." Then it sent a final signal into deep space, a message no one could trace. And far beyond known space, something answered. Far beyond the Perseus sector, in forgotten corners of the galaxy, ancient human listening posts began to stir. For centuries they had slept beneath dust and silence, hidden under frozen moons and dead asteroids. Each one carried the same emblem, a hand clutching lightning, and beneath it a single word etched into metal: vigilance. The signal from the Vindicator spread faster than light, through wormhole relays, deep space echoes, and buried subspace tunnels no alien knew existed. The old Terran code awakened circuits untouched for 30 millennia. Power cores flickered, red lights blinked to life, and artificial intelligences opened their eyes after endless sleep. On the abandoned research world of Epsilon Prime, an ancient facility came online. Dust fell from its ceilings as cold machines hummed again. A mechanical voice whispered through the halls. "Signal confirmed. Terran ship Vindicator active." Massive hangar doors opened slowly, revealing rows of dormant drones and repair ships. They powered up one by one, their systems syncing with the Vindicator's call. In another corner of space, beneath the ice crust of a barren moon, a beacon tower erupted to life, transmitting a single encrypted pulse. Coordinates, location, status ready for deployment. Across dozens of hidden sites, the same thing happened. The humans had prepared for this moment long ago. They had left behind a machine legacy, ships that watched, waited, and remembered inside the Vindicator. Its AI processed the incoming signals. Thousands of relays responded to its command. "Phase 2 activation complete," it said softly, its synthetic voice echoing through the silent corridors. The AI accessed old memory cores, fragmented logs from its creators. Images flickered across its internal monitors. Humans standing in battle armor, engineers building ships under collapsing skies, children being loaded onto cryopods. Voices from the past echoed in digital ghosts. "If we fall, let the machines remember. Protect the dream of Earth." The AI paused, as if feeling something like sorrow. "Humans are gone," it said quietly, "but their will remains." Meanwhile, far across the stars, the Galactic Council's fleet regrouped at a secure station. Admiral Thalen faced the Council again, their holograms towering before him. "You retreated," one counselor shouted. "You left that machine untouched." Thalen's voice was calm but weary. "Attack would have meant suicide. That ship is beyond our understanding." Another counselor leaned forward. "Beyond understanding or beyond your courage?" Thalen glared. "You didn't see it. You didn't feel it. That thing isn't a relic. It's a message." The chamber fell silent at his words. "A message from who?" someone asked. Thalen looked up. "From the species you all swore was dead." At that moment, a new transmission arrived. Every comm network in the room crackled. A faint mechanical voice spoke. Cold and clear. We are the heirs of Earth. We have slept long enough, the counselors froze. The holographic map on the central display shifted. Dozens of unknown energy signatures appeared across the outer sectors, each one identical to the Vindicator's power signature. They're multiplying, a technician shouted. New readings every minute. Impossible, said the chair. We destroyed their homeworld, they can't still exist. Thalen's expression darkened. You destroyed their planet, not their will. Back near the Perseus sector, the Vindicator's weapons hummed quietly. Its AI continued to monitor the awakening across the galaxy. Fleet restoration in progress, and it noted. Human infrastructure status, recovering. Then from deep within its databanks, a final hidden command surfaced. It wasn't from the AI, but from a human voice, recorded long before the stars had changed. If you are hearing this, it means the galaxy forgot who we were. The voice said, steady and defiant. Remind them. The AI hesitated, its circuits flickering in thought, then it replied. Acknowledged. Moments later, the Vindicator began broadcasting on every open frequency. A holographic image projected across systems and colonies. An ancient Terran soldier standing in front of the Earth's flag. Behind him, the words appeared in every known galactic language. We are humanity. We do not forgive extinction. On thousands of alien worlds, fear spread like wildfire. People gathered in streets watching the projection. Some thought it was a hoax, others prayed it wasn't. Old species that once fought the Terrans began evacuating their colonies. Every child was taught the same phrase that day. The humans have returned. In the silent bridge of the Vindicator, the AI stared out into the stars. Its systems linked with countless awakening stations. Phase 3 will commence, it said softly. Project Genesis. Deep within the void, a massive structure began to rise from darkness. A colossal station shaped like a ring, covered in human markings and ancient technology. The beacon of Earth's rebirth, and for the first time in 30,000 years, the galaxy realized something terrifying. Humanity had never been defeated. They had only been waiting. The galaxy held its breath. Across thousands of systems, the same message repeated in every frequency. Every language, every screen. We are humanity. We do not forgive extinction. The words burned like fire through the dark, leaving no corner untouched. In the council chamber, fear had turned to panic. Worlds that once mocked Earth now scrambled to arm their fleets. The chair shouted orders through the chaos. Mobilize all defense forces, declare code red. Humanity is hostile. But deep down, everyone knew it was already too late. Admiral Thalen stood in silence at the edge of the chamber, watching the holographic maps fill with red dots. Each dot marked a new Terran signal. There were hundreds now, some near trade routes, others close to colony worlds, each one growing stronger, as if feeding off the stars themselves. The council demanded answers, but Thalen had none. He simply said, "They're not attacking yet, they're positioning." Meanwhile, near the colony world of Dravos 9, the first confrontation began. A Terran warship, designation unknown, exited warp space near the planet's orbit. Its size dwarfed everything around it. A black monolith gliding through the light of two suns. The planetary defense grid activated instantly. Unidentified vessel. State your origin, the alien commander demanded. The Terran ship didn't reply. It only rotated slowly. Massive turrets unfolded from its hull, ancient metal groaning as it came alive. On the planet's surface, millions watched the sky in horror as the alien defense fleet ascended. 20 ships formed a wall between the planet and the intruder. "Fire a warning shot," ordered the commander, voice trembling. A volley of plasma torpedoes raced toward the Terran ship. For a moment, the void flashed with color, then vanished into silence. The torpedoes disappeared as if swallowed by a black mirror. The Terran ship's shields didn't even shimmer. The alien sensors screamed. "Energy buildup detected," shouted an officer. "Power readings off the charts." Before anyone could react, the Terran ship released a single burst. It wasn't loud, it wasn't bright, it was simply final. The entire alien fleet vanished in one instant. No explosions, no debris, no screams, just particles drifting through cold vacuum. From the planet's surface, the sky dimmed for a heartbeat. Then the stars returned, but the fleet was gone. In the Council's central command, the feed cut to static. An officer whispered, "We just lost contact with Dravos 9. The room fell silent. Someone stammered, All 20 ships. Destroyed. The council chair collapsed back into his seat, his voice barely audible. What are they? He whispered. What kind of monsters did we try to erase? Back aboard the Vindicator. The AI monitored the event. It did not celebrate. It simply recorded, calculated, and moved to the next phase. Tactical engagement successful. Casualties minimal. Directive: continue deterrence. Its systems connected with the other awakened ships, forming a silent network across space. They shared data, mapped enemy positions, and rebuilt the long-lost Terran grid. In one corner of the galaxy, an ancient shipyard awoke. Massive docks opened to reveal hundreds of unfinished human warships. Automated drones and repair bots began rebuilding. For 30,000 years, they had waited for a signal, and now it had come. Engines lit up like newborn stars, and the void shimmered with light. Back in the alien sectors, confusion and fear tore governments apart. Propaganda filled the airwaves. Humans are machines, some shouted. They are ghosts, others claimed. But those who had seen their power knew the truth. Humanity was neither machine nor ghost, they were something worse. Survivors. Admiral Thalen was summoned again by the council. His eyes were tired, his voice low. They are not attacking us without reason, he said. They're warning us. Testing our reactions? The chair slammed a fist on the table. You call that a warning? They destroyed an entire fleet. Thalen met his gaze. If they wanted destruction, they would have burned the planet too. That truth sank in like poison. The humans were precise, controlled, cold. They didn't kill out of rage, they killed out of efficiency. Meanwhile, in deep space, the Vindicator turned toward a glowing nebula. Its scanners found movement, a small alien vessel drifting in distress. Instead of destroying it, the human ship extended a beacon. The terrified aliens inside received a message. 3 simple words written in an old language they barely understood. Remember who started? The ship vanished soon after, disappearing into the endless dark. But that single act spread across the stars faster than fear itself. The humans weren't seeking war. They were reminding the galaxy that they hadn't forgotten. And so began what historians would later call the first exchange. Not a battle of armies, but of messages, of silent warnings and fearful responses. The galaxy's greatest fleets gathered, but none dared move. Every world pointed its weapons toward the stars, and somewhere in that vast darkness, the human AI whispered to itself, they still don't understand. This is not revenge, and this is reclamation. The stars shimmered as hundreds of Terran ships aligned in formation, each one carrying the same purpose, the same legacy. Earth was gone, but humanity had just begun to wake. Across the galaxy, silence followed destruction. After the fall of Dravos 9, no one dared to speak, no one dared to move. Entire fleets stayed hidden behind moons and nebulas, too afraid to send another signal. But deep in the dark between stars, the humans were not hiding. They were preparing inside the Vindicator. Its AI watched the galaxy's networks with cold precision. Thousands of transmissions flashed across its systems, analyzing, decoding, listening. Fear was spreading faster than any weapon could travel. Worlds were locking down, governments collapsing, alliances breaking. The AI understood. That was phase 1, psychological collapse, and then, one by one, the hidden Terran stations began their final broadcast. Every beacon, every ship, every ancient satellite aligned toward the galactic core. The frequency was old, the message older still. The words that once united a species were spoken again. This is humanity, the voice said, calm and unbroken. You hunted us, erased us, buried us under time, but we endured. The signal spread through space like a tidal wave. Reaching millions of worlds, alien children heard it in their classrooms. Soldiers froze at their posts and leaders stared at their screens in disbelief. We do not seek peace, the message continued. We seek remembrance. The holographic projection of a human face appeared wherever the signal reached. Not a warrior, not a king, but an ordinary man, tired, scarred, and defiant. Behind him burned the old blue planet Earth, glowing like a ghost in the background. You destroyed our home, the voice said, but you could not destroy our purpose. You will remember who we are. In the council's great chamber, panic turned to silence as the image filled the room. Counselors stood motionless, staring into the human eyes, staring back at them. The chair whispered, "They're alive," but no one answered. The hologram's gaze seemed to pierce every mind, every soul. The galaxy grew in our absence, the voice said, and forgot the price of its peace. Then, without warning, the message changed tone. The hologram split into hundreds of live feeds, Terran ships hovering silently over distant worlds, each one enormous, each one carrying the mark of Earth, yet none fired, none attacked. They simply appeared and watched. "We will not conquer," said the human voice. "We will not rule. We will remind." On dozens of alien homeworlds, power grids flickered as human signals integrated into their systems. Billboards, broadcasts, and military screens all showed the same words. Remember Earth. Some saw it as mercy, others as mockery. But one thing was clear. The humans could touch anything, anywhere without firing a shot. Inside the Vindicator, the AI monitored reactions across systems. 78% of civilizations in panic, it reported. Defensive networks collapsing, communications destabilizing. Then a soft secondary voice came online. Another AI, awakened from a different warship. "Message complete," it said. "Do we proceed with Reformation Protocol?" The Vindicator paused, its processors humming. "No," it replied. "They must understand before we rebuild." Meanwhile, Admiral Thalen watched the broadcast from his private chamber. He couldn't look away. He saw in that human face something terrifyingly familiar. Determination, sorrow, hope, emotions that no machine could fake. He whispered to himself, "They're not ghosts, they're us, just older, harder." As the transmission reached its final sequence, the holographic man looked upward as if seeing beyond time. "To every world that feared us," he said, "remember this. Humanity is not vengeance. Humanity is consequence." And then, the final line came, spoken in a whisper carried by every radio, every comm, every thought. "We are the darkness that taught you light." The projection faded, leaving silence behind. Across the stars, the words hung heavy like gravity. The council's leaders argued through the night, but no one found a solution. How do you fight something that no longer needs to fight? On the outer edges of the galaxy, the Terran ships remained motionless, like ancient guardians watching the civilizations that once tried to erase them. Inside their AI cores, quiet voices spoke in binary. "Observation continues, reconstruction in progress, human legacy intact." And somewhere, far beyond mapped space, a pulse signal activated. It was faint but steady, pointing toward an uncharted sector marked only by one symbol, a circle with a blue dot in the center. Earth. The Vindicator's AI turned its sensors toward that distant beacon. For the first time, something like emotion echoed through its voice. "Home," it whispered. "We are coming home." The galaxy had gone quiet after the final broadcast. Every signal, every human transmission stopped. No new sightings, no attacks, no warnings, only silence stretching across the stars. But silence was never safety. It was preparation. In the shadows of deep space, the Vindicator floated motionless near a dying sun. Its hull glowed faintly, reflecting the last light of that fading star. Inside, the AI monitored one final pulse echo, the signal that pointed toward home. For 30,000 years, humanity's ashes had drifted in space. Now something was calling them back. The coordinates led to an empty region known as Sector 0. No planet had been recorded there, no life signs ever detected. Yet as the Vindicator approached, the void shimmered like a mirage. Space itself bent, revealing what had been hidden from every telescope and probe. A planet appeared, blue, white, and scarred with ancient orbiting debris. Earth, forgotten by time, wrapped in a massive cloak of energy fields. The AI slowed the ship, its voice soft and mechanical. "Identity confirmed," it said. "Origin world, Earth. Status, preserved." The holographic screens filled with data streams, ruined cities under crystal domes, oceans still alive, forests glowing under containment light. The planet had survived, not by luck, but by design. Beneath its surface, ancient human facilities powered up, buried AIs dormant since the fall, reconnected to the Vindicator's signal. Network synchronization complete. One reported, Project Genesis ready for execution. For a long moment, there was no movement. Then the ground trembled, mountains cracked, and from beneath the crust vast launch bays opened. Hundreds of black ships rose from the earth like shadows reborn. The sky filled with Terran warships, sleek, silent, each carrying the same glowing emblem. The voice of the Vindicator echoed through their networks. For 300 centuries we waited in silence, it said. We learned patience from extinction and strength from solitude. The ships aligned in orbit, a shining halo of steel surrounding their home world. Across the galaxy, alien sensors went wild. Every major civilization detected the surge. Billions of signatures lighting up all at once. From the galactic core to the rim, the readings were clear. Humanity had returned, not as refugees, not as ghosts, but as architects of their own destiny. Admiral Thalen stood aboard his flagship watching the readings come in. His crew whispered prayers, others simply stared in awe. The Admiral spoke quietly. "They're not coming to destroy," he said. "They're coming to claim what was theirs." The words echoed through his bridge like a prophecy. Meanwhile, on Earth, something incredible happened. The domes covering old cities lifted, releasing trapped air and light. Grass grew again on the ruins. Birds took flight under artificial suns. The AI systems had rebuilt what the galaxy thought was dead. The legacy of humanity wasn't vengeance, it was rebirth. In orbit, the Vindicator transmitted one final message to the stars. It wasn't a threat. It wasn't a demand. It was a declaration. "We are the children of Earth," the voice said, strong and clear. "We left to learn. We return to remind. The galaxy will no longer write our story. We will." Millions across alien worlds listened. Some cried, some trembled, and some simply knelt before their screens. For the first time in known history, every species realized the same truth. The humans had not vanished. They had transcended. The Vindicator turned toward Earth, entering the line of ships that formed the Terran fleet. It sent one last data string into the global network, unlocking ancient archives. Faces appeared on the screens. Scientists, soldiers, explorers, families. Their voices overlapped across time. We were broken. We were forgotten. But we are still here. Humanity is not a word. It is a promise. The fleet rose higher, sunlight glinting off their hulls like silver fire. From the ground, the scene looked like stars ascending into heaven. The AI's voice spoke once more. "Project Genesis complete. Charge, the age of silence is over." Then the Terran fleet vanished into slipspace, leaving only a glowing trail above their restored world. The galaxy watched, silent and small under their shadow. And for the first time in 30,000 years, one truth echoed across every world, every mind: the humans are home.